Hi there, welcome to 60 Matthews. I'm Matthew, and today we're finishing the Dollar Tree Challenge that I started in my last video. Now I know, the end of the last video was a little lackluster. I put a lot of time and energy into building everything up, taking it back down, building it back up, taking it back down, just so I could get a sense of what I wanted the layout to look like. And it helped whenever I had a playground to work with and nothing was permanent, so that I knew I could take everything down and make mistakes and it would be okay. But as you can see, I've done a lot since the last video and all of this is glued down. It's all permanent. So this is how we've gotten to this state. It's been really fun to do this again. I forgot what it was like to be a kid and just start grabbing stuff and making something, and even though it isn't perfect, it doesn't mean that you can't stretch your imagination and make something look really cool and really fun. And you know, as I've grown older, I've lost sight of that a lot. Everything I do now has to be like serious art, or at least it has to be impressive. It has to be something that like I want to share with people, instead of just doing something for the fun of it and making up stories as I go. Unfortunately, it has taken a lot of time and several days to glue everything down, wait for that to dry, glue more stuff on top of that, wait for that to dry, and then glue even more stuff on top of that, wait for that to dry, and so I've kind of run out of time on this. I said that I was going to animate this, like have a short scene. I even said I was going to have another clipboard and do a whole nother scene on that, and then that way I could do like an overall shot with this, and then do a close-up shot with that. That ain't gonna happen. But I am gonna try and do some kind of animation with this. I have a lot more to say about this process, what it's taught me, what it's reminded me. But first, here's the big reveal of the Dollar Tree Challenge.
So don't mind the terrible green screen in the back, or actually it's red screen because there's a bunch of green in the picture that I didn't want to edit out. But anyway, don't mind that. I know it's crappy, but I was mainly just trying to get some test footage. I just wanted to make sure that I could edit out the background and make it look somewhat decent and not have the band in the background. But it was a lot of fun playing around with this, and again, just like knowing, not taking it too seriously, just trying to let it play around with stuff, really. And then this was the test animation to see if I could get the water flowing, and it didn't look great, but it looked better than I expected. And that kind of laid the groundwork for what I was working on next. My biggest takeaway from this challenge was finding the perfect balance between art and work. I have a tattoo with the word artwork because I think that it's an interesting kind of complex that artists go through. Of art is the fun, childlike kind of play around and don't take yourself too seriously. And then work on the other side is like refining and mastering and powering through and struggling and fixing and overcoming. And somehow you want to be right there in the middle. It was really fun in the beginning of this process to just play around and just put stuff places just to see how it looks. And then I got a sense of scale and figured out really what I wanted this to look like and really found the composition of the piece and figured out like where I wanted the background to be, what would be in the foreground, and really looking at it that way. And that's where it transitioned more into the work side of things, where I had to refine it and work on it because now I had some limitations that I had to work with and things that I had to like work through and figure out versus just putting stuff all willy-nilly and having fun with how cool I can make it look. I had to actually make it look somewhat well put together. But that can be just as much fun too. I think that's just as much of the art process. So that's one of the biggest things I took away from this challenge. This reminded me what I wanted to do with 60 Matthews. I wanted to make this where I can test out all of these different skills and play around with all of these different art forms so that I could try and just make stuff. And make stuff just for the sake of making it. Because a lot of times whenever you play around with just fun and goofy stuff, that's where you can find a lot of really great art. That's whenever you can tap into these deeper, more meaningful things. A lot of times it's just you allowing yourself to let loose and see where your brain goes. A lot of times your brain finds these little like minute details of deeper things that it wants to explore. I didn't find any of those like deeper philosophical elements of this project, but it did remind me of giving up that sense of like professionalism and perfection and just letting my mind wander. It can be just as fun and fulfilling as some of the grander projects I've attempted.
But for now, that's all I have for this week. I will definitely do more stuff like this in the future. I did buy another clipboard, so I have a whole nother side. I'm going to try and do it on the other side of this so that I can have a bigger kind of playing area, but we'll see. I really, really recommend that you try this. It's been so much fun. Even if you don't think you're that creative, even if you don't have a lot of money, go back to your childlike state of wonder. Just go to Dollar Tree and buy a few things and just start making something just because. Maybe it'll help relieve some of the stress that's going on right now. You don't have to glue anything down either. You can just keep the materials and do it once a week or so and try and make something different every week. Just have some fun with it. We all need a little fun right now. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.